We have a very special guest in studio today. He is the owner and founder of BioFit here in St. Louis, the great and powerful John Zarbock. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, sir.
How
Thanks
are
for
you?
being here with us, man.
Doing awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. We're happy to have you.
Also, thank you for your service.
Oh, thanks for your support,
Yes,
brother.
absolutely. Yeah, and you put me through a hell of a workout yesterday. I really enjoyed that. It was, for those of you, well, I'll let you tell, the listeners about, what it is that you do.
Yeah. So, it is hard to explain. I mean, it's easy to explain for me because I've been doing it for so long, but it's hard for some people to understand and comprehend because it's a complete paradigm shift away from what conventional exercise, strength training, cardiovascular conditioning, has been and is to some degree. But BioFit is a quality of life improvement company that optimizes wellness, in the safest, most efficient, most effective way to basically deliver strength and cardiovascular training and conditioning to the muscle and bones of the human body. And the way we do that is we just leverage the most advanced exercise technology on the planet with machines called adaptive resistance exercise machines. So it's motor driven. So you get basically perfect resistance every moment of, every set of every rep for every exercise. And because you're getting perfect resistance, because we're setting the machine to your biomechanical range of motion so that you have to do the exercise, in terms of form and technique and posture and all the things correctly, there's no way for you to hurt yourself. And then when you pair those two things together, the efficiency of it is that you really don't need to exercise from start to finish more than about 20 minutes. And in a best case scenario world, it would be about once a week, but no more than twice. Which is that's a tall order for a lot of people to believe, to understand. And unfortunately it's just something that needs to be felt and experienced, like almost viscerally to get it, which is the hardest part about, building the company with, again, like most revolutionary technology for fitness ever. And it's my opinion, but I also kind of feel like it's a fact. I mean, like once you use the machine, you understand.
Once you see it.
Yeah. Once you feel it and use it, you're like, oh, okay. I totally understand.
I mean, I was certainly very skeptical, going in, but then I felt it and I was like, okay, this is legit, like this is, I was done after 20 minutes yesterday. Like, and I think it was like 10 minutes and 47 seconds or something of actual work. And I was like, holy shit. Like, and it was like a full body thing. It was, we did a chest press, we did a leg press, we did a shoulder press, we did bicep curl, a tricep extension, like a static leg press, a calf raise. Like we did it all. And I mean, I was done in 20 minutes. It's crazy. It's like super efficient.
Yeah, I was the same way. I mean, you hear it and you're like, I got to see it to believe it type thing. And then once I did it that one time with at your place over off of, yeah. And I was like, holy shit. I think I went for like 8 minutes and I was like 8 minutes of actual work time. Right. And yeah, that it kicked my ass. So. Yeah. I mean, it just works. Right. I mean, there's no, now you're going to get out of it what you are willing to put into it, obviously, sure. But if you show up and regardless of the amount of skepticism that you have, because I can promise you that nobody is as skeptical as I was when I first heard about it. I had been working out and lifting since I was, 16 years old. I'd done, amateur bodybuilding shows. I'd done CrossFit competitions. I was in the Army for 22 years, just retired in March. But just like through all that time, it was just all Schwarzenegger stuff. It was all like, do what he did, do what Ronnie Coleman did, do what Jay Cutler did. Like I was just very into the bodybuilding scene and I wanted to look like those guys, not understanding through all that time, 15, 18 years of training that like, my genetics just do not like express.
Yeah, not everybody can look like that.
Yeah, but we're not told that.
Yeah,
like you're reading the magazines, and
but I'm eating like 250 grams of protein a day. And how do I not? I've been doing this for so long, and I've been lifting. Why don't I look like that? You're also probably not taking
steroids,
lots of copious amounts of Mexican supplements.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and it's I was taking tons of supplements, but just not to the level of like not anabolic steroids, not D-bol, like not things that are going to. And the thing is, I was even working out 20 hours a week. I mean, I was working out twice a day, every day. I mean, it was like a part-time job just being in the gym. And when I discovered this technology and when I discovered this like we'll call it like a philosophy of exercise, right? Like
Yeah.
incorporating more science than
it's very
what I
scientific.
would say like the bro
Right.
science, you know? What occurred to me was like a few different things. Is like, one, yeah, I was spending 20 minutes a week like in the routine of working out, right? But even if I were at the gym for an hour or an hour and a half, when I really sat down and started to think about like how much time am I actually under load at the gym, it's usually only about 15 or 20 minutes, right? So like when you really think about how long are you at the gym, or how long is that whole process of, you know, getting ready, pre-workout, driving to the gym, warm up, you know, the whole thing, and then how much time are you actually spending
Working
and
sets.
doing the actual
Right.
work? It was so unbelievably disproportionate to, you know, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm
I
working
spent
out
2 hours.
20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm a master. You know?
Right.
But it's like when I understood how much more effective and efficient just having maximum load with perfect resistance is, I took my 20-hour time commitment per week down to like literally less than 20 minutes. With if the same results, if not better. And the if not better was really more predicated on focusing more on recovery and focusing more on like self-care and not just being like the, you know, the egomaniac of, you know, just most young men where it's just like, you know, if it hurts, rub dirt on it. Like,
Mhm.
you know, sleep, who needs sleep? Like, you know, you're weak if you're, you know, if you're needing rest and
You're
recovery,
tired.
Right.
you know, like meditations for losers and hippies, like all of these things, as I started to learn about like more biohacking. And when I started to actually understand and apply the science of like anatomy and physiology and exercise science, everything changed. Everything in my whole world changed personally, professionally, how I lift. And just when I brought these machines to St. Louis, I knew that this could be like a complete disruptor. Like for one, I didn't realize it was going to take me this long to like successfully disrupt. I'm still trying to. But what I love about these machines and this technology is that they don't discriminate, right? So you don't have to know what you're doing. You don't have to be in a certain shape. You don't have to be at a certain level of conditioning. Like I would give you the exact same workout as I would give an 80-year-old.
Right. Well, you
Mhm.
said it was the same exact. I was in there with an older woman yesterday. I don't know how old she is, but she's definitely older.
Mhm.
And you know, you said, yeah, you guys went through the same workout. You know, it's just like, you know, me, someone who's spends a lot of time in the gym, been working out consistently for like 17 years now. Like, and you know, I did the same thing that she did, and I was just as tired. But that machine, you know, it gave me the resistance that I needed to, you know, to have a good workout, and it gave her the resistance she needed for a good workout. And
Right.
the part that I really liked is that I was, you know, like you said, the range of motion is very limited. You can't really get hurt.
Mhm.
Like one thing I was a little you know, like, yeah, you can't lock out your legs, you know, because obviously if that machine started coming back on me on a leg press or something, you know, we've all seen those horrible Instagram videos where the
Right.
dude's got a million plates on the leg press and it
Smashes.
folds his legs in half.
Mhm.
You know, but it's really awesome.
Interesting. Yeah.
Where did you come up? Like, where did you like see this stuff for the first time?
So it's I don't know, maybe it's not embarrassing to hear, but like to me, it just seems like a really cliche, stupid thing. So I saw an ad on Facebook.
Okay.
Like I was in a really dark place back in 2018 after I'd gotten back from my third deployment overseas. And I had started my personal training company, but I was doing it with, you know, conventional weights, conventional, you know, philosophies and things like that, you know, so sled pushes and tire flips. And, you know, I had
CrossFit,
basically like
kinda.
like a CrossFit bodybuilding hybrid,
Mhm.
you know, like my own flavor type of a thing. And being in the Army, even though I wasn't like full time in the Army anymore, because I had kind of, for lack of a better term, like downgraded, so to speak, from like active duty to being just like a traditional guardsman. So I was like, instead of doing it every day, all day, I was just doing it 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer, you know, like in the
Mhm.
reserve, so to speak. But I kept being sent for training, right? So, because I was a knowledge management officer at the time, I was just like starting to get like my master's degree in cybersecurity. So I was transitioning in from being what's called like a signal officer, so like IT communications and stuff like that for the Army, into being like a cyber security officer. And so I just kept being sent on all these things. So I'd be home to train and work in my business for, you know, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then I'd be gone for 2 weeks. And like it just kept happening. And I didn't have any control over it because when the Army calls and says you're going to do something, you got to go do it,
Right.
you know? And so I was just I didn't think I was going to be able to be successful in my business because I just kept losing clients, and I wasn't able to be as reliable as I really wanted to be. And so I was just looking for solutions. I was just online, 10, 11 o'clock at night, just like in the doldrums, being like, there's got to be a solution. Like there has to be a way for me to fulfill my dream of, being a health and wellness professional and just helping people and inspiring and motivating them, educating them, for a better way to live life and to feel better, and be in the Army at the same time. Like there's got to be a way, and then that's like literally like divine intervention. Like that's when I saw this ad for this machine that, claims that you only have to work out 20 minutes a week. And I'm just like, that's bullshit. Like I'm working out 20 hours a week. And if you don't have at least that amount of commitment and discipline, then just don't even try. You know what I mean? Cause we're all kind of like, it's, I would say it's like common sense, but it's not that doesn't make that much sense. That like, if you don't have at least an hour to go to the gym, you just don't go.
Right. Yeah.
How many people probably say to themselves like, oh, I only have 20 minutes to like work out, but I'm not going to because I can't possibly get a good workout in 20 minutes, because most people don't know, one, how to do it,
right,
and they don't have the tools or the technology to support that. So I was very skeptical. And so I didn't believe that it claimed that it did what it did. But as I did a little bit more research, motivated with anger and, resentment and like wanting to prove it wrong, I understood a little bit more about where the technology came from and how it was all developed. And then the very next day I woke up and was angry, but also inspired. So I drove to Nashville, Tennessee, to a place called Quantify Fitness. And they were one of the original like biohacking studios in the country that uses this technology. So I drove 4 hours for essentially a 5-minute workout. So like basically the same, a condensed version of what you guys did for the first time is what I did. And I mean, again, like the visceral reaction and the just complete understanding now of like, oh, okay, it's motors and I'm never going to win. I'm never going to beat the machine. Like I'm never going to actually I'm never going to accomplish the thing that I mentally, from an ego perspective, am going to try to accomplish. It's just going to break me down to that momentary muscle failure that we're always trying to get to. And I didn't even know what that meant. But it was like, as soon as I experienced that, I knew definitively that was what I was going to spend the rest of my life doing. Like it was the most pivotal experience physically for me ever. And then, so I just committed. I like drained my entire bank account. I bought 2 machines for $100,000. And like, I was like, I have to be the person who introduces, St. Louis to this. And I think I can transform and revolutionize a very large segment of the population that is very disenfranchised with gym culture, with bro culture, with, boot camps and group classes. And, like just for the plethora of reasons that people don't want to be in that environment. They don't choose different. They choose nothing. And there's like 70% of the population doesn't even exercise on a regular basis. Right. And so it's like, I wanted to try to serve that population of people that the rest of the fitness industry and the market is just basically ignoring.
I mean, that's crazy in and amongst itself that 70% of the population just doesn't do shit. Like that's wild to me.
Well, so I've developed kind of a hypothesis, so to speak, like a theory of like why that is because as humans, I think it's human nature to run away from pain more than to chase pleasure.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So there's that. And then it's also the effects or the consequence of not working out on a regular basis or having a decent balanced diet or, getting good sleep hygiene or whatever. Like these things that are really important for our health and our like overall quality of life and balance. The symptoms of that neglect it can take decades. You can gain 20 pounds, not like how you look, or you might have to buy a new pair of jeans, but like, is that going to manifest into actual symptoms of sickness or disease in a matter of days, weeks, months, or few years? Probably not, in a lot of ways. And so I think the reason why most people don't take it as seriously as they should for like health span reasons and quality of life is because, again, like the consequences are so slow
It's a slow
to
poison,
manifest,
you know?
that there's no negative like reinforcement or consequence for it.
Right.
And so like you really have to have people that understand the like kind of, I don't know if it's the right terminology, but it's like the sacrifice mindset where it's like instant gratification. You've got to get as far away from that as possible, and you have to just put the discipline and put the time in, because it's a marathon, not a sprint, you know, for health in terms of life. And so that's what I think. I think people are they're not feeling enough pain to force the change that they inevitably know that they're needing to make until it's well into, 50s, 60s, or 70s, depending on their lifestyle. And then by that time, they're like, it's too late.
It's too late.
I'm already ingrained into like, this is who I am and all these things. And that's just not
I
true.
don't work out. I've never worked out. It's like, you got to do it at some point. Like,
right.
Or unless otherwise, if you go your whole life without doing any sort of exercise, like, I just feel like
you add in, like, especially if you have kids, like, how do you keep up with your kids?
right.
Just like how, like, and also like, don't you want to set an example for your kids? Like, don't you want your kids to see what healthy living looks like and what, yeah. I don't know. It's crazy just to think that there's, but anyway.
The reason I have such a passion for like health and wellness from a physical perspective, because there's so much more benefit that you get, obviously, than just like looking good naked or fitting
100%.
good in clothes or whatever.
Right.
Like there's a mental component, there's an emotional component for some people. Like there's a spiritual component. I mean, I've had clients on the machine that will burst out into tears
Really?
in the middle of a set, because it is, for them, they're working so hard. They want what it is that they're there to achieve so bad that it like it overwhelms their like central nervous system, and not everybody has to like show up to that level of intensity necessarily for it to work. But for the people that really do and like surrender to the experience, it is so transformational, on so many levels, and so like being able to experience that with people and to see that and to like facilitate them through it is the greatest gift of all time. But yeah, it's just, I wish people understood how important just minimal amount of movement and exercise and resistance to the body is, because it's the only thing. Exercise is the only thing that no one else can do for you. Right. Like if you want plastic surgery, like if you want to, sculpt out and suck out some fat, if you want to, get a nose job, like if you want to make yourself aesthetically more pleasing on the outside, there's all sorts of treatments and procedures that you can do that, and you can outsource it. If you want stronger pec muscles, or if you want to be able to lift things up when you're moving your home from point A to point B and not hurt yourself or slip a disc or pull a muscle or whatever, there's nothing that you can do to strengthen your quads, for example.
It's like, Zach, I want you to go work out your chest so I can have a better chest.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can sit down with you and like verbally talk you off the cliff, right? I can sit down with you and verbally make you feel better. I can inspire you. I can teach you something new. Like there's so many things that from the outside in that you can outsource to better yourself. But physical exercise, strength training specifically, is the one thing that you cannot outsource.
Yeah.
You have to do it yourself, which then leads and lends itself into discipline, right? Self-care, self-love, discipline. And it's about, again, doing the hard thing. Like choose your hard. You can either do the hard thing, have the discipline, work out 1, 2, 3 times a week, just move your body around. Don't be sedentary. And that's hard, right? Or you can not do that. And then on the other side, and even though it might take a couple decades, you can choose your hard, in that life is going to be really hard for you in terms of chronic pain, joint inflammation, quality of life, not being able to get up off the floor, not be able to carry in groceries in one trip, like not be able to open, pickle jars, whatever that is. Choose the hard.
Yeah. Now, so do you go over everything with them in terms of like not just doing the BioFit machine and the ARX machines, but also like the health side of it, like diet, nutrition, all of that stuff too?
Yeah. I mean, I will get as granular with each client as they want me to get. I mean, obviously everybody's goals are different. But I try to spend as much time as I can getting to know the individual, getting to know like, where are you? Like we got a baseline. Let's figure out where you are now and where do you want to be? Right. And So it could be, I just want to be stronger, right? Like I just want to feel more confident and comfortable in my body. And then like when I'm hiking, swimming, biking, playing golf, doing yoga, whatever it is, I just want to be able to do those things and not be in pain, right? I just want to be able to do those things and have it not be so hard. It can literally just be as simple as something like that. And then it could also be something as specific and somewhat complicated as like, I need better confidence in myself. I need to be able to have, more self-esteem. I want to lose a bunch of fat because I don't like the way that I look in clothes. I'm a coach. I'm a presenter. I'm an educator. I'm a whatever, but I'm in front of people and I want to be able to like lead from the front and I want to be a product of my own product. And so if I'm teaching somebody, for example, how to optimize their life or how to optimize their business, and I'm talking to them about certain disciplines that they have to institute into their life professionally, but here I am like not having any discipline, like I coach, I guess, people through that, to the best of my ability. I mean, some of that stuff I have to outsource because I'm not an expert, like I don't need letters behind my name. But I'd like to think that I have enough, life experience and, leadership skills, from the Army and things like that, that I can walk with people through their journey and get pretty much almost anybody to where they want to be.
Wow. Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Now, how do you, go about like cardiovascular fitness as far as like, obviously yesterday I, got out of breath doing the machine self now, but do you like implement like any sort of like treadmill, elliptical bikes in addition to these machines?
So you can. So a lot of people that gravitate towards like this, they'll call it the system of how I, execute fitness. They don't have time.
Sure.
They don't want to work out. They don't want to make the time. They don't even want to be on the machine to begin with, but they know they need to. So they're at least willing to like, give me 20 minutes a week. Right. Okay. But and as you experience, like when you're really pushing it hard, pushing yourself to the maximum potential of what your body's capable of, which in and of itself is like a mental and emotional journey to experience, which again is something I absolutely love to do with people. When you're pushing yourself that hard over time, you get an immense cardiovascular benefit from that. And so you don't need to necessarily do additional cardio beyond that. If you like doing those types of things, by all means, like just move your body around. Like my big thing is the exercise that you need is the exercise you're going to do. Like, how should I exercise? However you like to do it or however you will do it, do that. Like that's what's going to work for the general population of people. But like, do you need additional cardio outside of these machines? Not really, unless you have a very specific goal that you're trying to accomplish. Like if you're only using these machines and using the high intensity interval training circuit of what the machines can do as all of your cardio, then you might not have very good conditioning, say to like run a 5K. Right. Because like if you want to get better at running a 5K, run a 5K. Run a 5K. Yeah. If you want to get better at rowing, row. Right. But what's fascinating about how the cardiovascular system works in our body is that your body doesn't know that you're running. The body doesn't know, like your heart and your lungs, like they don't know what you're doing for the cardio. It just knows that you're asking it to do something that is creating more demand for, oxygen and endurance, and it needs to adapt to whatever that stimulus is. So the stimulus from a cardiovascular perspective is somewhat irrelevant unless you have a very specific activity or skill or thing that you're trying to work towards for that cardio. Then I would say you have to do that cardio. Like you're not going to get better at doing push-ups by doing a bench press. Right. Like you would think so because it's still the chest, but it's completely different.
It is.
So like if you want to get better at a certain thing, do that thing. But in terms of just the minimum effective dose of a cardiovascular stimulus, we can achieve that on the machine with probably two sessions a week.
And so when you book sessions with clients, how long are they for? Like 30 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah. The session duration is 30 minutes. Right. And I do that for two reasons. One, because I don't want to rush, because when you're trying to rush through exercise, that is almost guaranteed to result in some type of an injury. Because you're fatigued, you're going to start sacrificing form, which is normal because the body wants to do what the brain tells it to do. So if you're telling your body to lift something heavy and the body is too tired to lift it with its legs, it will default to activating your lower lumbar, and it will use your back to lift, which you know not to do. But if you're too tired to do the actual work, then your body will compensate with or without your permission, so to speak. But the amount of time that you actually spend on the machine per week, even with two sessions, I mean, 40 minutes tops. Right. And I also spend that time, getting to know them,
talking about, hey, what are you eating? How you feeling?
Yeah. There's a lot of discovery.
Get on, get off kind of thing.
There's a lot of Q&A, because the thing is, the exercise is so short. The total amount of time in a week, like there's 128 hours in a week, right? So like if you're only spending, 10, 12 minutes under load exercising, like that's a very, very small percentage of time that you're actually tearing down the body in order to build it back up. But like the whole rest of that week should really be focused on like not being stressed out, right? So cortisol levels being managed, relaxation. Are you creating the environment in your life and around your life so that the recovery process can actually happen? Are you not overtraining, right? So like in a lot of those stressors of life, they pop up all over the place. Life happens. And so I spend a lot of that time in that 30 minutes to discover like, what are the things that are creating your stress? What are the obstacles that are getting in the way of what you and I are here to do for you to accomplish it? And then I use my network a lot. I mean, the big part of it is like at AU, but I use my network of clients because I work with a lot of small business owners. I work with a lot of professionals. I work with a lot of investors, and
just people that don't have time.
People that don't have time. Exactly. And so, but they also own businesses. Yeah. So like if I've got this, let's say I have a client over here and they're just stressing out about all these quotes and all this like landscape stuff that they want to get for their home. And like, I can't get them to focus on the task at hand because they're lost in this world of like, I have all this other life happening. Then I use that as an opportunity to say something to the effect of like, hey, like, will you let me help you solve this problem? Let me introduce you to somebody who can take this thing off of your plate so that we can focus on the thing. Like if you tell me that you're not getting, if you're only getting 4 hours of sleep a night, well, like why? What is the thing that's preventing you from getting 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep? And if I can help to solve that problem, then it's a win-win, right? Because they get the problem solved and then I get to actually accomplish with that client what it is that they're paying me to do.
Yeah.
So that's why I have 30 minutes instead of say, 15 or 20, because we can do it in that amount of time. Sure. It's just, I want to get to know people and I want to help them because what I do is, like I said, it's quality of life, And so I'm not as interested in working with somebody, for example, that just like wants a 6-pack, right? Like if aesthetics is like the prime reason why we're like, you want to come to me and work, I can do that for you. Like I have the knowledge and the experience of how to get you there, but I'm way more interested in like a full spectrum, like whole life quality of health and health span, and not just lifespan. Like we're all going to live till we're 90, probably anyway, like, but how are you living to 100 and being able to like actually live your life up until those are two completely different things. And so like my big thing is like, I just want people to enjoy life as long as they possibly can and not get trapped in these systems of, retirement community, assisted living, nursing home, hospice, memory care. Like once you get into that system, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like prison, it's like once you go to prison and once you have a rap sheet and a felony, like getting a job, like getting a legit job is almost impossible. Like it's a complete game ender. And if you're in your 60s and 70s and you get moved out of your home because either your family doesn't want to take care of you or you can't take care of yourself, or for whatever reason, once you get into that system, there is no going back. There is no reclaiming your physical independence.
I've seen it firsthand.
Me too. It's the saddest thing, and they think they're going home at some point. Like at least that was, my grandpa, they thought like, he's like, oh, I'll get better and I can get out of here, kind of thing. Like that was, you could tell if that was the mentality, but you just know that they're not really going to be able to go back.
Because think about it. Like if you just objectively look at the business model for what that is, why on earth would they set the conditions and the environment for anyone who's paying $5, $6, $7, $10,000 a month?
That shit is.
Why would they do anything to reverse that process?
Right.
Improve their life so that they're losing that revenue.
Right. They don't make money if you're healthy.
They don't make money.
Right.
Yeah. It's no different than the pharmaceuticals, than the hospitals, and the whole healthcare system. Like, it's designed to set everybody up for failure. Whereas,
not healthcare, it's sick care.
Yeah.
No?
And you can't have a successful business model if people aren't sick.
Yeah. And I lost 2 grandmothers way earlier than, in my opinion, than I needed to, you know, and for personal reasons, you know, like, I lost them in my early 20s, and that's a lot. Like, I wasn't ready for a lot of the wisdom that they could have imparted on me at that time in my life. Like, I was young enough still that I was like, oh, I know everything. I don't need, you know, like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Grandma.
You're just old, you know, like, this isn't the 1940s anymore. Turns out now that I'm 40, I'm like, oh shit, I probably really could have used like a lot of that advice and a lot of that counseling into my 30s and even now in my 40s. And had I had what I have now back then, or had they been introduced to someone like me back then, like, they might still be alive, or they might at least, they might be in a home because they're like 90, but they might still be coherent. Like, their mind still might work, but their body is inevitably failing them because they're 90. But like, you know, that, like, so that's really close to me. Like, that's a personal motivator, so to speak, to some degree. But it's happening everywhere, you know, and especially like with the baby boomer generation, like, it just seems to be generally accepted that, you know, you get to be 65, then you retire, right? Because that was like what we were told the American dream was. Right. And so, like, you get to be 65, and especially like for men, I don't know how many men you know that are in their like mid to late 60s, early 70s, that just like when they retire, they're dead, like within a year. Yeah, like, they've spent their whole life just grinding and working, and then all of a sudden they retire, and then now it's supposed to be, okay, everything that I said I was going to do in my 30s, 40s, and 50s, that I'm working and grinding and building my portfolio, building my businesses, and having all this wealth, and now they're not spending their wealth on living the life that they wanted to have and the experiences and the travel. They're spending their wealth staying alive. And it breaks my heart. Yeah. And so, like, I believe wholeheartedly that, one, I mean, just generally, exercise is what the main solution is to that. But for the people that, again, are just disenfranchised from conventional training and conventional exercise and gyms and things like that, like, what this technology does is it offers them an alternative, and it offers them a safe and an extremely effective alternative that doesn't discriminate against anybody. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. It doesn't matter how strong you are. I mean, I have worked with people that day one, they have never been to a gym. They've never lifted anything, you know, more than 30 pounds their entire life. And then I have somebody like you yesterday who's extremely experienced. And literally, I would give you both the exact same workout. Yeah. I'd give you the exact same stimulus, because when you push at your maximum ability, it might be 500 pounds. When they push at their maximum ability, it might only be 50. But they're feeling it at 50 the exact same way that you're feeling it at 500. And so, like,
my 100, their 100% feels the same as my 100%. Exactly. You know, like, yeah, that's incredible. Now, how long have you been doing this?
It'll be 6 years in November.
Okay. And over the last 6 years, do you have like any like crazy like transformation stories of any people that have like lost a bunch of weight or gotten really strong?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, there's honestly like too many to count. You know, like, I don't keep track of that like on an individual basis.
That sticks out in your head.
But yeah,
like,
I mean,
man, this guy or this girl,
so
like,
I would say the two that come to my mind right now would be like Jeff Wolf, for example.
Dude, he looks great. I saw him with his shirt off the other day, getting out of the sauna. I was like, Jeff, you're like shredded, dude. Yeah. Like, holy shit.
Jeff is killing it. Like, he's been working with Josh with Regenerate, with like the accountability and the meal planning and stuff. And so, because Josh is awesome. And then he's been working out with me on the machines once a week. So Jeff is like the ultimate testament, right? Like, Jeff does exactly what you tell him to do, right? Because he surrenders to the process, and he says, okay, I'm going to work out on this day at this time for this amount of, you know, every week I'm going to eat this food and have, you know, this these macros and,
Mhm.
this, calorie, deficit. He's going to contrast therapy with Johnny and on his own, 3 or 4 days a week. Like he's getting addicted to the cold plunge, which is very easy to do when you start doing it on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, you guys have seen him. Like the transformation is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's getting out of the sauna. I was like, Jeff, I never realized how like ripped you are. Holy shit, And how old's Jeff? He's
68,
Yeah.
maybe 63.
I was like, dude, like if I look like him when I'm 68, like that's that's goals right there.
I don't know if he's 60. He might be like, I think he's in his early 60s. But like,
regardless,
but yeah,
if I look like that in my 60s, I'm gonna be
100%.
I'm gonna be pumped.
So yeah, so he would be a great testament of just like I said, he gets on the machine once a week. Wow, that's it. Once a week for about 13 minutes, and he kills himself on that thing because he wants it. Like you can see it in his eyes. Like he wants better. He wants better. He wants to feel better. He wants to live harder. He's just a great dude. And then the other client that I've got that's like literally the quintessential perfect client of all time. If I had only just 100 of Rose, her name's Rose. If I had 100 of these, I'd be like a decamillionaire. Like her commitment, her discipline. She comes in twice a week. Same day, same time, twice a week. She's also doing the cold plunge and the contrast therapy with Johnny and stuff like that. And we've worked together. So we've been working together for almost 3 years. And she is down over 100 pounds.
Holy cow.
She's off all of her medications. So when she started, she was on 5 medications. And over the course of about 18 months, she basically her doctor basically told her she didn't need to be on any of them because all of her vitals were completely back to balance, back to normal. Whether it be cholesterol, whether it be for, like her A1C, because she was like pre-diabetic. And she does not spend more than 25 minutes a week actually like working, doing the exercise. Complete transformation.
Crazy. Yeah. That's amazing.
I mean, it just goes,
and she's 70.
And it just goes to show that like health, how important, like you said, what you've been saying, how important just the exercise, eating properly, sleeping properly can actually regenerate your body. And you don't need the medications. You don't need to do all that stuff.
Yeah, you really, all the medications that we need pharmaceutically are in our head. Every chemical, the entire pharmacy that we need for our bodies comes out of our brains. It secretes out of the glands in the brain that we need. And then if you have like a condition, if you have a disease, obviously
type 1 diabetes or
something. Obviously there's going to be some conditions that require medical intervention, right? And some type of like an outside stimulus to help, which again, I'm not a doctor. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I've got this thing, but I don't want to take it anymore. Like, what do you think? I'm like, well, I don't want you to take it either, but I'm not a doctor. So keep doing this, but go get the bless off from the doctor. When the labs come back and they show that you don't need this thing anymore because your body's taken over and producing the thing that you need by itself through good diet, exercise, and sleep, then why would you take pills if you don't need to? So, and I'd say the last one that now that I'm thinking about it is Todd Lane's daughter, Ashlyn. I don't know if you guys ever saw her or met her, but she's 20. She just went back to school to Auburn. She worked with me for 5 weeks. And I didn't even know that she had any goals. Quite frankly, I was just doing it as a favor to Todd because I thought that it was just something that she was interested in and wanted to just try something new. So I didn't really even have a plan for her. It was literally just her showing up, doing a quick workout for 12, 15 minutes. And then, okay, cool. I'll see you next week. But then she came in after her 4th workout. She had gained 3 pounds of muscle in 1 month, 4 workouts, and she lost 3 pounds of fat.
Huh.
And I didn't even know she was tracking that. And it wasn't until she told me.
She's in an InBody.
I was like, holy shit. Yeah, she was going to Supplement Superstore for the
InBody.
InBody. But she was blown away. She couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow. I was like, can you please share this with people? Because women are under this impression that you can't strength train because you're going to bulk up or you're going to look like a dude or you're going to.
The biggest thing. I'm dude, that when people say that to me, they're like, oh, I don't want to start lifting. I'll get too bulky. I'm like, trust me, I've been trying to look bulky for 17 years, and I'm finally just starting to look a little muscular, it takes a long time. You're not going to work out for a month and all of a sudden have these giant shoulders and look all jacked. Trust me, I wish it was that quick.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy.
But again, Rose, right, who's 70, and then you have Ashlyn, who's 20. exact same protocol, exact same exercises. Now, the only difference was that Rose was coming twice a week as opposed to, Kaylin coming once. But like a 20,
how much more muscle and fat she would have, if she would have done twice
Right.
a week. Like that's, who knows? Like
Yeah,
it could have been more.
Yeah.
But who knows? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for the listeners, so like the way this works is it's basically you're maxing out and pushing and pulling as hard as you possibly can for a total of maybe 7 to 10 minutes on doing different exercises. So you're getting your 1 rep. Again, not even really. I mean, you're doing multiple reps of it, but maxing out.
Yeah, it's essentially every muscle group we do minimum 1 set to failure.
Mm-hmm.
And when I mean failure, I mean like neurological muscle failure. So it's not like when you're tired. It's not like when you think you're done. It's not when it's not when the lactic acid is like burning at such a degree that like you feel. It has nothing to do with feelings, right? Because the data on the machine, the algorithm, the software, all of the performance metrics are right there, right in front of you in real time feedback. And so I can give each individual person, I don't have to know anything about you, but except for the fact that you're a human being, and every human being experiences momentary neuromuscular failure when they are 40% fatigued based on their 1 rep max, right? So like the formula is literally right there. So I can take every single human being, regardless of age, regardless of experience, and regardless of strength, or injury or ability or whatever, and I can give every single person the perfect, down to the second, amount of volume of exercise that they need minimally for their body to be forced to have to physiologically change and adapt to that stimulus.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever.
So now I would imagine, so like, I've only done it once, but since, we made like a little profile for me on the machine, I would guess like next time, like I've got like a metric that did it, like we'll say like last time you hit it here, so I can see like my improvements over time.
Yeah. So not only can you see your strength and power production improvements and capability, but you're also going to see your, to some degree, like your cardiovascular or your muscular endurance, right? Because it's one thing to just be able to push something really, really hard, really, really fast one time. And it's another thing to be able to maintain, right? Like you could sprint, say, for 5 seconds and you'd be really, really tired. Or you can sprint a 200-meter dash in, say, 20 seconds, right? But like, can you maintain the maximum sprint speed, velocity, or whatever the entire time? Well, you got to train up to that, right? So, but you can test it and you can actually, like, you can quantify that experience or that experiment over time. And that's what we do with the machine. So like it's evidence-based, it's scientifically data-driven. There's no guessing, there's no subjectivity, there's no ambiguity. There is no like, oh, I feel like I'm done. It's no, like, I know when you're done every single time, the second that you've achieved the minimum dose, what's called the minimum effective dose of the exercise stimulus. It's so wild.
It's so scientific too.
Yeah.
That's something. I mean, I think BioFit's like a perfect name for it.
Right.
Yeah, it's short for biohacking fitness.
Yeah.
We should connect him with Corey, the professor.
Who?
Beck?
Oh,
the professor?
yeah.
He'd like that shit.
Yeah, he'd probably be all into it. Yeah, we've had a professional fighter on here. He's very like scientific with things. His fighter name is the Scientist.
Oh, that's cool.
Like he's like real into science and just
That's
like
what it
very
is, a scientist.
very systematized on everything. So
I'll tell you, man, if I would have known, 30 years ago that like the nerds have got it figured out, like I probably wouldn't have been as much of a jock. Like, it's just when you get into when you really get into the granular and you really start to look at numbers and look at data and you really pay attention to, like pattern recognition and things like that, like, man, you can optimize so much better for life in just a plethora of ways, as opposed to just, basically just running through walls like a juggernaut, like we were all taught to do as young men.
Well, I mean, let's look at the fitness industry and how a lot of it's changed. I mean, you went from being in the gym, powerlifting, lifting these heavy weights, doing these lifts, to now you've got from that into CrossFit, which is a condensed version at a high intensity where you're doing a lot of the same stuff, but you're doing it at a quicker pace. And then from there, now you add in high rocks, whatever you want to call, bring that into it. And now it just seems like with the science of everything and everybody's looking to get a quick workout in, but it looks like the fitness industry or the working out industry as a whole has figured out a way to condense that to get quality workouts in a short period of time. I mean, where do you see it going from here?
Well, I would love to. I mean, I obviously now have my bias, with motorized resistance and like this style of exercise, which is called high intensity training. So instead of it being HIIT, like HIIT, high intensity interval training, it's more high intensity training, which was coined, I think like in the 1980s by a guy named Arthur Jones. He was the original inventor of the Nautilus machine. And the whole reason why anyone uses negatives to train is because of Arthur Jones, like whether they know it or not. So that's where the machine technology was. And that was what inspired it, was how do they take a Nautilus machine with like the old cam system that was developed specifically for the eccentric part of the exercise, which is the most productive part, which is what does all the damage to the muscle tissue. How do they motorize it, right? How do they make it perfect in terms of the resistance capability? And so they did it with these machines. So like I said, like I have a bias towards this, obviously, but like I said before, like the exercise that you need or that you should do is the exercise that you will do, like on a consistent basis. And so like as a former bodybuilder, as somebody that was, doing CrossFit and Spartan races and Tough Mudders and like all the things, like there's nothing wrong with those types of things. But what I'm finding at least in the last 5.5 years that I've been doing this is that eventually most people become either old enough, busy enough, or tired enough, or injured enough that all of the rest of those like conventional methods, they're not for them anymore. Like you're 50 years old and you're, just wanting to get started on a fitness journey. Like CrossFit's probably not the answer for you, like it could be depending on your personality type, but for the most part, like, your grandma, are you going to send your grandma to a box and have her do, deadlifts and friggin' overhead squats and clean and jerks?
Yeah.
No, like I love CrossFit and what it represents, what it is, but I view CrossFit as a sport, right? Like just like I wouldn't send my grandpa to, or my mom for that matter, like to the YMCA to work out, so to speak, playing basketball.
Right.
Like, yeah, you're going to get a great cardiovascular, like it's great. It's a great activity. It's great movement, but playing basketball isn't going to make you look like LeBron James.
Right.
Right. Just like, I don't know, like swimming isn't going to make you look like Michael Phelps. Right. If you don't have like the genotype for what swimming is going to express, for you. So I just want people strength training.
Yeah.
This technology and these machines allow people to do it safely, quickly, and very effectively. But for the people that don't want to be at the gym, my best clients are the people who hate exercise, hate it. You could pay them to go and pay for their membership to go to Club Fitness, Exist, Crunch, Lifetime. It doesn't matter. And they still wouldn't go because it's not about the money. It's about the environment. It's about the mentality. It's about the culture. And so all of those people who are completely disenfranchised from all of the other conventional methods, here I am. Like, This is for you. Like if you don't have time, you don't like to exercise, but you need to, and you understand the benefits, but you don't, like nobody wants to like invest in life insurance, but you do it because you understand the long-term ramifications of like compound interest. And you understand that there's going to be a value add and a benefit 30 years from now, right? Like nobody wants to go to the gym. We all want to do other things than like put ourselves through that discomfort. But the people that do it see an immense result and benefit. And we do it because we understand like what that is. And so like for those people, this is perfect for them.
Yeah.
And for the people that I say this somewhat tongue in cheek, but it's like for the people that have that time to waste, okay, go to the gym. Go work out go to the gym for 90 minutes and do the thing. And because if that's what you like to do, and if that's your therapy, and like if you have a community, go do that. Like, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but when the time comes, that time becomes an issue. Or if you injure yourself doing it the conventional way because you were doing it ballistically and quickly, and you were trying to do something you shouldn't have been doing, fatigued, and you hurt yourself. Okay, well then I'm over here and we can do it this way. So it's, I personally believe that this is for everybody. Everybody can use it and get a benefit from it physically.
Right.
but like mentally, like it doesn't fit for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, but it probably would. I'm a weird person. I enjoy.
Mhm.
I'm one of the weird people who likes to go to the gym. Like I look forward to it. I have all my friends there. I love the community. I like
Right.
the culture of the gym. But like I could totally see myself, years down the road, like especially like you said, getting injured. Like that's certainly something I've dealt with over my career of working out. But no, it's great. I do love the scientific approach to it, because I mean you're seeing that scientific approach with a lot of things lately. Like one thing that just comes to mind, there's this group in the UFC, they're called the Fighting Nerds
Mhm.
out of Brazil, and they like take this very scientific approach to like everything, like all their training, everything's very, very scientific. They like brought in like these like world-class scientists and have like broken down like footage of of the people that they're fighting and like and everything. And these guys are going on a tear right now in multiple weight divisions in the UFC. And it's just, they're taking that scientific approach, and it's I think that could be applied to so many different things that aren't right now.
Completely
So
agree.
Yeah.
Wow. I think a lot of us have just, for a really, really long time, we've been operating, in a lot of different markets and industries and just a lot of things in life. Like we operate with this vague, almost like building the plane as we fly it type of thing. And quite frankly, just like the data, the information, and the experience of running a lot of these experiments like that they weren't around in the 20th century.
Mhm.
Like they're just, the technology boom just in the last 30 to 40 years, like we didn't have access to that, like that tacit knowledge back then, but now we do. And so like it's changing and revolutionizing everything of how we operate in life. You can do the same thing with exercise.
yeah.
Well, what do you see happening with your company in the next 5 years? What are some of your goals for the next 5 years?
So I mean, I would like to have more of these machines in the wild, people using them. I would like to try to find, physical therapists and chiropractors and weight loss clinics. Like in my opinion, like, I know Ozempic is going through like this crazy, like, lawsuit right now because, they're doing way more damage, than helping, most people. But if you're giving someone a GLP of any sort and you're not like figuring out how to also give them strength, for like the muscle sparing and things like that.
And
Yeah. Like what? Like that, like to some degree, like it should be criminal.
I know
that.
several people that I know that have just been taking it, and like, they don't exercise, like they just don't eat, like, and like I've watched them like slowly kind of wither away, and I look at them and I'm like, wow, like they look like they'd have a hard time carrying a jug of milk.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's like I gave this person a hug recently, and like I hugged her, and it was just like very, like I could like just didn't feel like there was a lot of like muscle there.
Yeah, it was like biscuits.
And I'm like, whoa, like I know that she'd been on it for a while, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. It's like I feel like that's probably not good.
It's not preferable, for long term, because again, like
muscle, like you need it.
Yeah, you need it. It's the largest organ in the endocrine system.
Mhm.
Like muscle is really important. And the bigger and stronger your muscles, the stronger your bones, because the muscle pulls on the bones and the bones get that extra like stimulus in order to like maintain their density. Like there's so much about it. And it's almost like it to some degree, it's so simple, it's hard. Like I don't know, a perfect example for me, because I'm just as guilty of it as I try to like point out for other people. But like how absolutely ridiculously easy is it to just sit in a chair for 10 minutes doing nothing?
No.
How easy is that?
Yeah.
Very easy.
Do we all know that we're probably supposed to be doing that, like in meditating and just breathing and like just be still, be in the present for 10 minutes?
Mhm.
How hard is that to actually make time to do? It's the simplest possible thing to do. Sit down, shut up, don't do anything, and just listen and breathe, right? But how many of us actually do that on a regular basis? Because it's so simple, it's hard. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next. I'll do it later today.
I'll figure it out. I'll do it later.
It's always tomorrow.
Push it off. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. But it's just like, move your body, eat decent food, right? Don't overfill yourself with calories, and just get some sleep. It couldn't be more simple than that. But we, I think just humans, like we try to complicate everything. And so we do. And so that's what, like when life seems to be harder than it needs to be. But yeah, in 5 years, I mean, you know, I would really like to have just in general more people exercising, more strength training. So like whether it be on this technology or not, you know, I want to at least inspire, you know, some type of a movement where people just, you know, maybe they get introduced to that way of life or that philosophy using these machines, and then maybe they go find something else to do that's more community driven, more, networking or whatever the environment is that they want to be in, group class environment, whatever. And then, you know, when the time comes and they get done with that, then they can always, you know, migrate and come back to me. But, I would really love for there to be some type of a movement where, like, if you're a healthcare professional in any way, that you have a technology like this built into your system, and whether you do it in-house or you purposefully and intentionally outsource that to someone like me. Like, nothing would make me, I'm the only one in the state of Missouri that does what I do. Like, these machines, I have 8 of these machines, and I'm the only one. I don't want to be the only one. Like, please, like, if you're here listening, like, adopt the technology and, you know, compete, like, come in the market.
Well, and the cool thing about those too, that I was just thinking about this, have you ever thought about making them mobile? I mean, I get that they're big, heavy machines, but they don't take up a lot of space to where you could buy like a fucking box truck or something like that and put them in there. And basically you got a mobile gym now.
Honestly,
just taking it to the people. I mean, you know, people are like, oh, I don't have enough time. Okay.
I'll come to you, park it in the driveway, and we'll get your workout done in 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Like gym guys, you know,
I've seen those guys.
Mobile personal training. Yeah. Like
that's an idea.
That is something that I've been wanting to do.
There's a big ass bus in the back of this place right now.
Whose bus is that?
Yeah, whose bus is that?
I was talking with Corey. I don't know.
Nobody knows whose bus that is.
Yeah. Fucking
like all like tie-dyed and like.
I just
apparently the inside's pretty badass from what I was talking to Corey about. He's like, yeah, it's all decked out on the inside. I don't know whose it is, but people are talking about buying it. And I'm like, fuck, buy that thing.
It's the AU party bus.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that'd be legit. But no, I think I have wanted to put it on a mobile platform and bring it around. My limitation for that, and, you know, I'm only limited by my own, you know, desires and imagination and like all the things. I get that. But like, you know, for 5 years I've been wanting to do that, but I'm limited by, you know, funding, capital, and
those things are
I
expensive.
can only be in so many places at one time. Right. And so, like, labor is the most expensive thing that, you know, for the overhead for the company. And so I have yet to make the dent, like, in the market, like the critical mass of adoption, at least in St. Louis, is not yet such that I can, like,
well, that's what I was thinking.
Hire somebody full time to replace me so that I can go out and do those types of things. I mean, we're getting closer.
Well, because that's what I was thinking. I was just like, you know, there's, you know, not a lot of people know about it, but like you're talking about wanting to be able to work with older people and that are, you know, pull up to a retirement center and be like, hey, listen, come try this. Like, let's give it a shot and then see what kind of things you can work out with the retirement community as a whole, and be like, hey, listen, I can come here once a week, park it here, have people come in and do this, or even go to an office building with downtown. You got these executives in there just like, hey, listen, I can run you through a 20-minute workout and won't even take 20 minutes. Really, it's only going to be about 10 minutes of actual work time. Get in, get out, and get right back to your day. And then, you know.
Yeah, that would be, so that is like what I envision in the next 5 years. Like, that would be another.
That'd be badass.
We'll call it division, right? Of BioFit or, you know, or whatever company. But yeah, I mean, and again, like, just objectively speaking, right? Like, do I like nursing homes and that whole program? Like, no, I don't at all. I mean, I'm grateful that it exists because some people legitimately do need that.
Right.
You know, but like, there's way too many people in that system that need to be way too early in their life. But again, objectively speaking, like, if you're in an assisted living facility, or if you are in an assisted living facility or something to that effect, like, doesn't it make the most amount of sense to, like, keep those people alive longer?
100%.
Right? Like, keep them in that particular piece of the program as long as you possibly can. So, like, even if it were just for, like, selfish, profitable, nefarious reasons, for, like, the only thing you care about is the bottom line and not the quality of life of the person, I don't need you to care about the quality of life of the person that you're trying to make money off of. I focus on the money. That's fine. Like, be as selfish about that as you possibly want, because it becomes a win-win, because the person gets to have an actual improved quality of life, and they get to have more strength, and they get to have more energy, and they'll get to sleep better. They'll have better cognitive, ability and all of those things, but they can still have all those things and not want to leave the assisted living facility, and the assisted living facility gets to keep them in there longer and make more money from them.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be with good intention that you
adopt these machines,
that you adopt this technology for that specific scenario, because you can still have a win-win. And I love that.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I go to assisted living or nursing home type places, and I try to talk to those directors and those executive directors, and I try to get them into the studio, like, what I'm saying sounds good and intriguing, and they want to believe what it is that I'm saying is true and factual, but getting people to use the machine, like getting them to the experience, has always been the hardest part, because there's always this just giant level of skepticism. It's like, I hear what you're saying and it makes sense, but like, I don't know if that's true. Yeah. And so, like, they're like, I don't know if it's worth my time to go try it or whatever. And then again, like you were saying, yeah, these machines are not cheap. They're about $50,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And so
now, I was just thinking about this. Are there just the two versions of them?
Mm-hmm.
So you got the one that's more of a horizontal push, and the one's more of like a vertical pull.
Right. Yeah. So the Alpha is the leg press machine. Now, it is capable of doing a full body workout, but you're limited to maybe like 10 different types of movements, because it's just one. Yeah. It's unidirectional. But then the Omni has that's the cable, so there's a lot more versatility. So you could probably do upwards of like 20 exercises on the Omni.
The one that the lat pull or one.
Because you can do lat pull downs, you can do
triceps.
You can do triceps, you can do shoulders, you can do chest, you can do deadlifts, you can do squats, you can do upright rows. I mean, you can do everything. Like, in one machine, you have an entire gym. Mm-hmm. Like, I can replace an entire Club Fitness with one machine in 100 square feet.
Yeah. It doesn't take up much space.
Yeah. No, it really doesn't.
So like, I envision that at some point there will be a smaller gym, niche boutique gym adoption in some way. What I really would like to do is find other personal trainers, younger personal trainers that are already in the gym training, making pennies, because that's the business model for the gym, and convert them into, like, instead of just showing up at the gym and like waiting for people to come to your desk and ask you for training, or, you're given the first 3 sessions for free for personal training, and then you're like trying to hard sell all these people or whatever, making, $15 an hour. Like, let me show you how to, like, entrepreneurially make 6 figures and only have to work 40 hours a week, or 30 hours a week. Like, if you can learn the system well enough, and if you don't have all the overhead, right? Like, if you don't want to have a big old company like I've got, you just want to have access to the machine, or even get yourself one machine and then go rent, 500 square feet of space for a couple $100 a month
or something. Yeah.
You could crush it. You could crush it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to get to so yesterday, I don't know, do you guys know Tim Hessero? So he's opening a wellness center in Pacific
he's a commercial real estate agent. Yeah.
So he's opening a place called Home. It's an all encompassing wellness center, literally right next door to the Cigar Vault.
Oh, okay.
In Pacific. And so he and I met yesterday. He reached out and said, "Hey, I heard you got a couple extra machines that aren't currently in production. I would love to have your machines in our wellness center." And I was like, okay, well, me too. So like, let's take a look and see what that looks like. And so, so I think the model that we're going to find that's going to work for that particular location is, okay, I'm going to send some machines down there. It's probably not going to be like BioFit. It's not going to be like a BioFit driven thing. I'm just going to kind of siphon off these machines, because I'm not using them currently. I don't have the space for them right now. Send them down there. And then basically, like a salon, you just find a bunch of trainers who want to rent time on the machine, for a significantly less amount of what it would cost
to buy one.
To buy one, but also, to rent an entire gym, buy all this equipment and all the things, and then just sell time to the trainers on the machine. Like, I train them on how to
use it.
Do it.
Yeah, I was right. Say, that's one thing. It's like, you kind of need to know. You need to have someone there kind of running it for you, right?
You don't have to.
I guess you know how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have somebody there all the time. Like, again, like, it depends on experience. Like, if you know what it's supposed to feel like to do the thing, like, yeah, there's a little bit of how to, like if I were to give you an iPad for the very first time, like there's going to be something of a training, you know, cause it's all touch screen, it's all computers. So there's like some, you know, touching of buttons and things that you need to just learn, you know, what to do. But for the most part, like if you're using the machines is literally no different than using weights. It's just, instead of using a static weight, barbell, dumbbell, whatever, you're using a motor.
Mm-hmm.
You're using cable. You're using a winch.
Yeah.
It's a winch.
A winch.
Yeah. It's a winch with a motor. So,
what are the lifespans on those machines?
honestly, it's unknown.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the technology itself is only about 15 years old. You know, ARX is a company, you know, they've been selling commercial machines, only since like 2014, maybe 2015 or something like that. So like we're 10 years in, and I know a lot of practitioners and facilitators around the country that still have like their original machines. The machines that I'm going to put into Pacific, they're 6 years old, but they're built very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's almost no maintenance that you need for them at all. You know, they've got basically like, you know, tank
Track.
yeah, but like with the cable, like the chain,
Mm-hmm.
like the chain that it uses to like actually go through the motions. Yeah, I mean, these things are built like Volvos. They're built like really, really well. So it's unknown. It's a good question. It's unknown how long they'll actually last. But in my estimation, I mean, at least a decade.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm sure eventually they'll start sleeking it out and making it even smaller, more efficient size wise for that. I mean, they're pretty big and bulky.
Yeah. I mean, best case scenario,
still not taking up too much space, but yeah.
Yeah. Best case scenario, you really want to try to have like an all encompassing one machine that does it, like that does everything instead of having to break it up into two.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for those people listening that haven't seen what these look like, I mean, obviously you
We
can
can put some
Google
picture up.
ARX, but you know, it's about the size of. I'd say it's a little bit bigger than like a traditional like leg press. You know, maybe a little bit bigger than that. I would say. You know, it's not that much bigger than that. But.
Yeah, they're about 8 feet long and about 3 feet wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they weigh like 600 pounds.
Oh, it's actually lighter than I expected it to be.
Yeah, they're very mobile.
I mean,
it's not like I'm going to pick that up and move it around, but I expected you to say like.
I've had to help with that once, twice.
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way.
And need some wheelies on there and some things underneath it, but yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and so for people that like either maybe they're not geographically near something like this, or like maybe they don't have anything like this in their city, in their state, whatever, or they can't afford it, or maybe it just isn't for them right now. You can, if you were to just look into how like Mike Menser, how he trained to be like, as he was competing in the Mr. Olympia, like in 1980 and before that, if you look at how Dorian Yates trained to win, I think he was a 6-time Mr. Olympia in the late 90s. This style of training, like they didn't use this technology, but this style of training is how they were able to achieve those physiques. Like Mike Menser is very famous for like, he worked out twice a week for 45 minutes and he almost beat Schwarzenegger in the 1980 Olympia. Crazy. Arguably should have, because I don't know if you guys follow bodybuilding, but like, Schwarzenegger won from 70 to 75 and he took a 5-year break and then he ended up training like 6 months and he won, in 1980.
6 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but like, if you want to experience what this is like without being on the machine, and if the only thing you have available for you is like a home gym, or if you have weights, or like you have to lift heavier, lift slower, and incorporate the negative, right? And I would say focus. This is probably the one thing that completely broke my brain. And I realized like, okay, I don't want to say wrong in the sense of like, if you're going to the gym lifting weights, then you're doing it wrong. Like, that's not what I mean when I say this, but it's like, I was doing it wrong in the sense that when I was going to the gym for all those years, even when, like, especially when I was in my bodybuilding years, I would have a plan. And the plan was, it's chest day. When's chest day? Monday.
Yeah.
So my plan was, okay, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 on the bench, and then I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 on the incline, and then I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 on the triceps, and then, dips or whatever. And then I'm going to, so everything was about, 3 or 4 sets of 10, or maybe I'll do like a 10-8-6-4 drop set or whatever. But at the end of the day, what I noticed about what it is that I was doing is I wasn't exercising for the goal of doing the damage to the muscle in order to actually tear it down so that it gets stronger to rebuild. I was simply going to the gym and executing the program of doing 3 sets of 10 with some weight that I could actually get 10 reps with.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was completely opposite. Like I wasn't there trying to actually do what it is that I'm there to do. I was simply just trying to execute the plan. And I would choose weights that would allow me to feel successful and finish the set.
Yeah.
Whereas like, if you just completely ignore, it doesn't matter how many reps and sets you do, just do whatever it is that you're going to do to failure, to the point where you literally need someone to pick the weight up off of you. That's going to be way better. And that's going to yield so much faster results than doing it just because you're following a script on paper and you're choosing weight based on what you can successfully push or pull, as opposed to doing it to the point where you literally can't, because you're at muscle failure, right? And if you pick up heavier weights, you're doing less reps, but you're doing them slower and much more controlled, and incorporating that negative, right? Incorporating that maximum resistance in the eccentric, right? So like if you're doing a bench press, for example, like when you push the bar off of your chest, that's a positive or a concentric movement. And then when it comes back down, which is when the most productive part of the exercise,
which is what most people miss, especially on a bench press, because they're pushing it up and then they're bringing it down quick.
Dropping it, bouncing it off
your chest.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, if you just lift heavier, less volume, and slower, you will get, I promise you, whatever result you're trying to accomplish, you will get there 5 times faster.
I mean, the time under tension on these machines is just insane. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah,
it's
time
under tension.
Straight tension.
Crazy.
So.
Well, John, what other crazy biohacking experiments have you done on yourself?
I mean, I try to do as much as I can, quite frankly. You know, I think the biggest biohack for me ever, even beyond this type of training in these machines, is probably my Oura Ring.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's having the data of my sleep.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Yep. You know, when I started the journey, I got these machines, and then not too long after that, I bought the Oura Ring. So I've had my Oura Ring for 6 years, since 2019. And once I started to pay attention to, you know, deep sleep, REM, and I started to see the data, and I started to correlate my quality of sleep on what my sleep hygiene from the night before or the day before, like when I started to see how those correlate, it changed everything.
Oh, dude, me too. I'm like right in the middle of experience. I mean, I've been wearing the Whoop now for, I think, like 110 days or something like that. So it's not been that long, but like just seeing like what even having like one drink will do to my sleep.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's insane. Like you have one drink and it automatically like kills my recovery for the next day.
Well, how much like time wise, deep sleep, REM sleep does someone actually need?
I would say like best case scenario, like maybe 90 minutes, like
Really?
90 minutes of each. Yeah. Like when because when you really get into the data, now I'm not a sleep expert, but based on the research and based on like the anecdotal evidence that I have for myself, like if you're sleeping for 8 hours, you're going to most likely go through 2, maybe 3 cycles of deep and REM sleep, right? So there's deep sleep, there's REM sleep, and there's light sleep.
Yeah.
Light sleep is just, you know, you need it, but there's not really a lot happening, right? Your rapid eye movement sleep is what's going to like make you not crazy, right? So like if you go 7 days or 10 days without getting a significant amount of REM sleep, like you could essentially develop schizophrenia. Like you'll go crazy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard is REM is more for your brain and deep is more for your body. Is that right?
Yeah. So the deep sleep is what's called like restorative, right? That's where metabolically, like that's where your muscles are regrowing. That's where you're losing fat, right? That's where like that's metabolizing. You're breathing it out like as you're sleeping. So fun fact, if you want to lose fat, like exhale more. Because that's how you lose fat. Like the carbon atom, the carbon molecule, or the carbon atom that is like a CHO, like you shave off that carbon atom and then it becomes vapor, like H2O, and then you breathe it out. So like more you exhale, which is why like when you run, right, when you're doing more cardiovascular movement activity, you tend to be less fat.
Yeah.
Because you're literally breathing the fat off of your body. So fun fact there. But
I didn't know that.
But yeah, I mean, I would say Anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes of REM and deep sleep. Like my best sleep that I've ever gotten, right? Like I was maybe like a minute or an hour and 40, right, of each.
Yeah.
Really?
So, you know, but yeah, I mean, but again, like the sleep hygiene stuff, like it's got to be cold. Like you got to sleep in a cold environment. So anywhere like 62 to 64 degrees in your room with, you know, whether it be air conditioning or fan or like whatever that is, like you want it to be cold. You want it to be dark. Like you want you no light, right? Light is interpreted by the brain of, oh, the sun's out. So if the sun's out, I'm not sleeping because there's work to be done, right? Like, you know, we try to think we're smarter consciously, intellectually than what like the million years of biology of evolution of our bodies have been dealing with. And so like in the last 100 years, we're the most technologically advanced society and civilization of like all Homo sapiens sapien, you know, time and species. But like, we're not smarter than the limbic system. Like, you know, our reptilian, like monkey brain, lizard brain, monkey brain is going to always trump like what we think we can intellectually, you know, navigate around, which is why biohacking is so interesting to some degree, because you can hack those systems like a computer system, and like you can trick the body and you can trick the brain into thinking like with these nootropics, right? Like you can trick the system into thinking that it's getting something that it's not, which is why biohacking is so interesting to me. You know, but like sleep hygiene, you know, diet, like you can biohack diet, you know, like intermittent fasting, right? Like Dave Asprey is the one who basically came up with that and made that popular. Right. You know, you can biohack your diet, you can biohack your gut biome. You know, I have tried and continue to try everything that I can possibly get my hands on, because one, my clients ask me, right? So like I might not be a subject matter expert, but I can at least
speak from experience.
And I never, ever recommend or refer anyone, but like any of my clients to do or use or try anything that I haven't first tried myself. Like I won't do it. Or if I am suggesting something, I will absolutely be transparent and say like, I haven't tried this. This is what I've read. This is what I've heard. This is what I've researched. So it might work. Mm-hmm. Do your own research, you know, before you try anything that I haven't tried. But yeah, I love it, man. I love all this biohacking and the science and the data. Like you can't hide from the data, right? Mm-hmm. You can't make up, like, it doesn't matter how you feel. Like, you know, facts don't care about your feelings. Like it's, right. You know, you use the data, run the program, trust the system, have the discipline, and then refine and adjust as needed.
Yeah.
Like it's so simple. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's definitely something I've noticed about myself since wearing this Whoop. There'd be days where I know I probably would have worked out anyway or gone and done something that I shouldn't have anyway. But like I looked at my recovery from the day before. And I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, like my HRV is way down. Mm-hmm. Like I should probably take it a little bit easier today and just go for do something light instead of like going to do something intense, like a CrossFit workout or something. Yep. Like, so that's like something that I've been personally paying attention to a lot more, especially since wearing these. I can't believe it took me so long to like get a wearable, you know, but I'm glad I did, because it's been really eye opening, especially for the sleep.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I mean, I could fall asleep at 10 o'clock and I'm still only gonna get 5 hours of sleep. But you were talking about REM and deep sleep. I average 3.5 to 4 hours of REM or deep sleep a night.
Insane.
Last night was 3 hours and 45 minutes of REM sleep or deep sleep.
Wait. Of each?
No, of total.
Yeah, so about an hour and a half per.
Yeah, right.
That's
right.
Great.
And
yeah.
And I'm awesome. Like, I guess, you know what? Like, I might be one of those people that don't need a lot of sleep because I can get to REM sleep and deep sleep and I still feel fine.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Right.
For sure.
Some people legitimately only need 5 or 6 hours. Right. And like, you know, genetically speaking, like that's what, and then some people legitimately need 9.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I look at it and they're like, well, your recoveries, and like, oh, you only got about 70% of what you really needed for sleep, but your sleep efficiency is 95%. Sure. I'm like, well, I guess I sleep really well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when it comes to sleep, like, you know, we've been told, and it's not to say that it's wrong or incorrect, but we've been told that like 8 hours is like the standard, right? Well, I mean, to some degree, I would say generally speaking, that's probably true. But at the end of the day, your quality of sleep is 100 times more important than the quantity.
Yeah, quality over quantity in everything in life, honestly.
I mean, you could sleep, you could be in bed and have slept 10 hours, but then like, you know, or sleep 7 hours, you're in bed for 10, but like your dog's waking you up, you got to wake up to pee, you know, like maybe you forgot to close the curtains. And so the sun is coming in and it wakes you up, and then you got to wake up, get up, you know what I mean? Like you can have sleep interrupted. So whereas the quantity can be there, but if it's not quality REM and deep specific sleep, like it's almost as if you know, shouldn't have slept at all.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like there have been plenty of like anomalies where like, you know, I made a bad decision and I stayed out too late, or, you know, I did something and I only got say 4 hours of sleep. But then when I woke up, it's more like a nap than an actual like, you know, night of rest. And I actually have more energy, more cognitive ability, and more physical like motivation and energy to do stuff after 4 hours sometimes than I've had with 8 hours. Like it's weird sometimes how that happens.
There's times where I get too much sleep and I just wake up and I'm just like groggy and just
I can't lay in bed more than maybe like 7 hours is my max. Like it starts to hurt.
Yeah.
Have you ever laid in bed so long that like it starts to hurt?
Yes.
It's weird. Like, I'm not even doing anything, but like, you know, bed sores and
uncomfortable. Yeah.
And like you're
stiff
and
right. That's the thing is like you were saying, like I don't even focus on the total time I sleep. I'm just focusing on what I get for REM and deep.
Sure.
And then like, you know, as long as I'm getting anywhere from 3 to 4 hours with both, then I'm going to be fine.
Sure.
And so if I can knock that out in 4 hours, and great. If not, then, you know, but that's kind of what my biggest focus has been on. And my HRV's always been pretty good. So
awesome. Well, John, you've got kids. So how old are they? What do you now? Do you put them through your workouts or?
Well, my daughter's 20. She goes to Arkansas University. She has yet to experience the machine.
Okay.
My son is 13. He just started 8th grade at Washington Middle School, and he uses the machines from time to time. He's starting to get interested in, you know, working out, but doing it to that level of focus is kind of hard for him, you know, because he's still kind of just want to have fun and, you know, whatever. But, you know, like I said, like he's 13 years old, and I would give him a very similar workout than I give myself, you know. Definitely not to the level of volume, and probably not as much range, you know, because he's still playing to some degree on the machine, which it's not a toy. But you know, because of how he shows up for that experience, it's more likely that if I'm not like watching every movement that he's making, that he could hurt himself. But yeah, no, he likes it. You know, he likes the way it feels. He loves how exhausting he is. You know, I mean, it's like taking your kid to the, you know, trampoline park. You know, it's just like when you leave, it's like Napville.
Yeah,
you know, it's good.
For sure.
So it's
good. Are you working with him on the biohacking stuff? Do you do the meditation and the breathing?
Yeah, I mean, I try to incorporate that stuff and try to get him involved in as much as I can. You know, so he does like to meditate. You know, so that's one thing. Not for very long, but you know, I can get him to sit down. And his mom has been, you know, pretty instrumental in that too. You know, because she's real big into meditating and like Joe Dispenza and breath work and stuff like that. So her and I have that in common at least. We're divorced, so like we're not together. But yeah, I mean, you know, my kids they like what I do. You know, they like talking about it and seeing me on, you know, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, John, is there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to cover?
I don't think so. You know, I appreciate you guys like letting me kind of just, you know, free flow,
absolutely,
stream of consciousness with it.
Great, good learning experience, and
been awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I guess like I appreciate you guys coming and trying it, so you can, you know, speak to it. You know,
for sure.
Because I know how interesting it is and sounds, and you know, again, like the level of skepticism that inevitably comes to the surface, where it's like that sounds a little too good to be true. Like, I understand. It was too good to be true for me too, until I realized, oh, okay, like
this works.
It does work, and it does make sense. And so, yeah, I mean, just, you know, for anybody that is listening or anybody that's interested, you know, I offer the first 2 sessions to everybody for free. So like, you know, it's not going to cost you anything to come try it other than just 20 minutes of your time and maybe a little bit of an ego bruise, you know, cause you're not going to win. Right. You know, and it's weird for some people because like when you go to the gym and you're lifting weights, like you feel a sense of achievement and success, because if I put say 225 on a bench press and you can push it a couple times, you have achieved the goal of pushing 225 or whatever.
It's everybody's goal when they first get into the gym. I just want to hit 2 plates, you know?
Yeah. And so, but like with this machine, it's the approach is different because you're never going to win. So the success factor has everything to do with how safely and how quickly can you fail, right? So the mentality is like you win by failing. And that's hard for some people to like wrap their brain around. Because you don't ever feel like you're winning. As a matter of fact, the entire time you're on the machine, you feel like you're losing.
Yeah,
because you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And that's not how we're used to feeling when we're working out. We're used to feeling stronger and stronger. What do? You warm up with 1 plate and then you put 2 and then you put 3 and then you put 4. And it's like you're building up to being able to lift more. Whereas it's literally the exact opposite. Whereas we start you at the strongest force production capability of what your body is capable of. And then we work down to the point where you literally can't even feel your muscle contract anymore. So it's a complete reversal of thinking, of experience. And that kind of confuses people, and to some degree I would say repels them because they don't want to feel like they're failing, but like kind of the point.
Yeah.
Right? But once you experience it, once you feel it, you understand. It takes 5 seconds for you to realize, oh, this makes sense. And then it's, oh, by the way, I only have to do this once a week, maybe twice for 20 minutes. Like, yeah, where do I sign up?
Yeah. Right. Pretty cool.
So it's just about getting more awareness out there. It's about educating people about just thinking differently, not just about exercise, but just about quality of life, right? It's not, you get to a point in life, and like I said, I'm 40 now, and I was that young man who only cared about how I looked and my 6-pack abs and, going to the pool, going to the beach and, looking good or whatever, but there comes a time in life where I promise you, you will not care. Like care a little bit, but like you care more about how you feel than how you look. And when that time comes, BioFit's here. Right?
It's awesome.
Love it, man.
Well, love the passion, man. You can definitely hear it by the way you talk about it. It's great.
I think it has a lot to do with just like the Jeffs and the Rose and the Ashlands of the world. Like when you've worked with as many people as I've worked with in the last couple of years, and you've heard the stories and you've heard how transformational this can be to someone's just so trivial. Literally, like I've had multiple clients tell me that before they started working with me, if they were on the floor with their grandkid, with their dog, or, if they were just on the floor, they couldn't get themselves back up. As a young man, I can't relate to that. I have no idea what that feels like, what that is. Like it completely blows my mind. It eludes me from understanding and comprehension, but apparently it's a thing. And within literally a matter of months, within a matter of like 6 to 7 sessions, I can completely reverse that. Completely.
Incredible.
Awesome.
And it's just those little things about, again, like not being in pain, quality of life, being able to do the things that you want to do, but not having it hurt. The stories and the testimonies that I've had from my clients in the last 5 years have just completely changed my entire perspective and outlook on how I approach not just my own like fitness regimen, but just how people, in my estimation, like how people need to think about training in their older years. Like I don't have any delusions that like I'm going to be able to convince a bunch of first form guys and supplement superstore trainers and 25-year-olds to bail on the gym to come do this.
I mean, if they could supplement it once a week, why not?
Yeah. I mean, if they could afford it, then yeah,
for sure. Well, you guys heard it. If you're local here to St. Louis, go check out John at BioFit. Locations in Richmond Heights, and you train people out of here as well.
Yep.
So here in Fenton, Richmond Heights, go check them out. Your first 2 sessions are free. But John, before we get you out of here, we always end the show the same way.
Play a little game called the Tombstone Game.
The Tombstone Game?
The Tombstone Game.
Good.
Here lies John. What does it say on your tombstone?
Wow, okay.
Yeah, take a second, think about it.
So I will play the game in the sense that I personally don't want a tombstone for myself. Like I just want to dust in the wind.
If you were to have one.
You have a plaque by an urn.
Yeah.
What does your urn say?
Oh, man. I would say just like here lies John Zarbock, father, patriot, veteran. He gave a shit.
Perfect.
Love
That's
it.
awesome.
Great. Well, thanks again, John, for coming in. And thank you guys all for watching or listening. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button for us yet, please do so. Pat and I have a goal of getting to 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of 2025. So help us hit that goal. Click that subscribe button. Share this episode with a friend, especially someone who you think you could use John's services and just wants to, be able to get a great workout in a short amount of time. Click that like button as well. Comment what you thought below. And we'll see you next time.